Recently, Mykelti opened up about something that stunned fans. In the early years of her 2016 marriage to Tony Padrone, she admitted that she seriously considered polygamy. Not casually, not hypothetically. She actually entertained the idea of bringing other women into her marriage. And even more shocking, she said she had mentally picked out women she thought would be good sister wives for Tony. Now pause there, because that's not just curiosity. That's contemplation. That's planning. This is especially fascinating because Mykelti has publicly seen the ups and downs of plural marriage firsthand. She grew up watching her father, Cody Brown, balance 4 wives: Mary, Yanel, Christine, Robin, and over time, viewers watched that family structure slowly unravel. Christine left. Yanel separated. Mary eventually split. And Cody ended up legally and functionally monogamous with Robin. So for Mykelti to consider entering the very lifestyle that ultimately fractured her family, that's huge. Let's unpack the psychology here. Mykelti didn't grow up in a typical monogamous household. She grew up in a culture and religion where plural marriage was normalized, even idealized. For many children raised in fundamentalist Mormon communities, polygamy isn't viewed as strange. It's seen as a path to spiritual growth, a way to build a large family, a way to create sisterhood among women. And in the early seasons of Sister Wives, that's exactly how it was framed. Christine often described the joy of sister wives helping raise children together. The family emphasized unity. They promoted love, not jealousy. So it makes sense that in the early days of her marriage, Mykelti might have thought, maybe this could work for me too. Especially if, at that time, she still believed the system could function in a healthy way. But here's where it gets interesting. She wasn't pressured into it by Tony. From what she's shared, this idea came from her. That's important, because it suggests this wasn't about coercion. It was about internalized worldview. When you grow up in a system long enough, it doesn't feel extreme. It feels normal. Now let's talk about Tony Padrone. Tony has always been Tony, outspoken, playful, sometimes controversial among fans. When he married into the Brown family, viewers weren't sure what to make of him. But over time, he's shown himself to be confident, independent, and not easily swayed. So how did he respond to Mykelti's polygamy consideration? From what she's shared, Tony wasn't leading the charge. If anything, it sounds like this was more theoretical than practical. But imagine being Tony. You're newly married. Your wife says, "Hey, what if we added more wives?" That's not a small conversation. And the fact that she even mentally selected possible women, that suggests she was seriously running through scenarios. Did Tony encourage it? Was he amused? Was he uncomfortable? We don't have full transcripts of those early discussions, but the fact that they never pursued it tells us something. They ultimately chose monogamy. Let's consider when this happened. They married in 2016. At that time, the Brown family was still publicly presenting plural marriage as functional. The real cracks hadn't fully exploded yet. Christine hadn't left. Yanel hadn't separated. Mary was still technically in the marriage. From the outside, polygamy might have still looked viable. But fast forward a few years. Christine leaves Cody. She later finds happiness and remarries. Yanel distances herself. Mary exits. And suddenly the plural ideal collapses. Now imagine watching your mother leave the system. Imagine seeing firsthand the emotional cost. That likely shifted Mykelti's perspective. It's one thing to romanticize polygamy in theory. It's another to watch your mother feel neglected in practice. This is where things get deeper. Children raised in plural families often face a complicated inheritance. Loyalty to their upbringing. Awareness of its flaws. Fear of repeating history. Mykelti's admission feels like a crossroads moment. She almost stepped into the same dynamic her mother eventually walked away from. And that's powerful. Because generational cycles are hard to break. When something is normalized in your childhood, it imprints on you, even if you intellectually question it later. Her story highlights how belief systems don't disappear overnight. They linger. They evolve. They resurface during major life milestones, like marriage. Fans of Sister Wives had mixed reactions to this revelation. Some said, "It makes sense, she grew up in it." Others said, "After everything her mom went through, why would she even consider it?" And some wondered if this shows how deeply ingrained plural marriage ideology still is within parts of the family. But here's something important. Considering something isn't the same as choosing it. And Mykelti ultimately chose monogamy. That decision says just as much as the consideration itself. Today, Mykelti and Tony are monogamous. They share children. They appear stable. And there's no indication they plan to pursue plural marriage. In fact, the tone of her revelation feels reflective, almost like, "I thought about it once, but that was then." People evolve. Beliefs shift. And sometimes we don't realize how much we've grown until we look back at the paths we almost took.